So to start off this recipe, this is a really quick one, which is really nice. We have 1 cup of dry couscous here. And what I want to do is 1 cup of warm water. Pretty warm. I boiled this. It's been sitting here for a couple minutes, so it's cooled down a little bit. You can use just boiled water. It's fine. So the ratio is 1-to-1, give or take. Whole wheat couscous tends to absorb a little bit more liquid, so you might want to add about a quarter cup more. And before we add the water, a little trick on how to infuse some more flavor into that. If you didn't want to use water, you can use actually vegetable stock or chicken stock. Everything gets absorbed into the couscous. So any liquid that you actually put into it is going to get absorbed. So the more flavor you add to that liquid or to the couscous prior to reconstituting it or rehydrating it, is just less salt or fat that you'll need at the end. So with our regular couscous here, we're going to add a little bit of dried basil. You can use some dried mint if you want. And lemon zest. So this is just an organic lemon that we washed well. We're using a rasp or microplane. A great technique. We love doing this.
This is one of our favorite techniques to get a beautiful citrus lemon flavor, especially for people who have a sore mouth.
So I have a lot of zest here. I like the zest. You can add as much as you want. It's pretty fragrant. All of those essential lemon oils are in the zest. And so that's going to go in, and we're just going to give it just a quick stir. It's easier to combine now that it's dry, so that's why I like to do this ahead of time. And then we're going to add our cup of warm water.
And I've done recipes like this before where I put orange juice to flavor up the couscous and give it that extra citrus.
Absolutely.
So if that appeals to you, that's something you could try.
And so that's it. The warm water goes in. I'm going to put some saran wrap on top. And you can put even just a damp towel will work on top. We're going to set this aside. And we're doing a pumpkin seed pesto. Pestos traditionally use pine nuts. Pine nuts must be made of gold or some sort of fancy metal because they're very expensive.
Absolutely.
But what I love about pestos, there's no hard rules to pestos. You can replace the pine nuts with walnuts if you like, with almonds if you like. Something with a little bit of healthy fat into it. It gives you that nuttiness, it gives you that healthy fat, and it helps to bind everything together. So pumpkin seeds work great, absolutely fantastic. Great substitute for pine nuts. A little bit cheaper as well, but again, you can use almonds, walnuts. And what I did ahead of time is just toasted them, so just heated them in a pan. You don't have to do this, but I don't know if you can see from here, it's not the greatest shot, but it's a little glossy. So those essential oils are coming out of the pumpkin seeds. It just helps to break them down.
Sometimes I've seen people toast seeds or toast nuts in their pan, and they put oil in the pan first. So you don't have to do that like Jeremy was saying.
Yes.
And it's even better if you don't, because you're going to get this beautiful browning and toasting on that side of the seed.
So the pumpkin seeds are going to go in. We're going to add a couple cloves of garlic, some sun-dried tomatoes, which I love in this. If you want it a little spicy on the hot side, you can add a chili to it. And again, up to you. A little bit of the red chili. You're not going to get too much heat. You're going to get some of that flavor, which is nice. And if you want it like spicy, if you want to get a good kick, throw the whole chili in. So warn your guests ahead of time. And then we're going to add our fresh herbs. I've got a big bunch of parsley here. You can add basil. You can do a little bit of sage. Will actually work well in here. A little bit of cilantro for those cilantro lovers. I love cilantro, but you can put some of that in there. Parsley is nice. It's pretty neutral, but has a nice sweetness to it. And we're going to add, I'm obviously not measuring this, but it's about 2 cups or so. Don't be afraid to add the stems. Just the very bottom you want to cut off, but the stems are super, super sweet as well. And we're doing this in a food processor, so it'll break down. If you wanted to go old school, and we have the mortar and pestle there, fantastic way to do it. It's going to take you a little bit longer,
It counts as exercise.
It counts,
if
that's
you use
right.
the mortar
There
and
you go.
pestle.
There you go.
So you could work out before you have your pre-workout meal.
Absolutely. So parsley goes in. We want to add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. This is going to give you some flavor. So a little bit of that sodium. So we're going to add a lemon juice in here. Put about 3 tablespoons or so. It's about half a lemon, and give or take, and you can adjust at the end. That's always important. Taste and adjust. So I'm going to juice the lemon. Has anyone forked a lemon before? Yes, a couple of hands. So what's forking a lemon? So it's just a fork in the lemon. It makes it a lot easier.
I didn't see that one coming, Jeremy. I thought there was going to be more to this technique.
Sometimes.
Jeremy has another technique that helps you discover all the paper cuts on your hand.
Yes, you can strain it through
and
your
that's
fingers.
straining the lemon through your hand so you catch all the seeds. I've tried to do it at home, and I always somehow get a seed in there. So I like the colander or the strainer idea.
So we're going to add that lemon juice, and that's just going to add a lot of brightness to this. And again, you can change it up a little bit, add a little bit of orange juice if you want, add a little bit of lime juice. Would be great in there. And like Christy said, we're making a pretty big batch of pesto. If you're going to make pesto, I always say, you know, if you're going to go through the trouble, make a bigger batch because it stores really well. So
put it in little ice cube containers and freeze it, and then you can throw it into recipes or reheat.
Yeah, just warn your family before you do that.
Jeremy's drank water
Yeah.
with pesto cubes in it.
You don't want to grab a glass of ice water in the middle of the night and have parsley floating in here. And I say that from experience, so. Okay. Yeah. So just pulse it. Plug it in. There we go. Just pulse it a little bit beforehand, and then we're going to drizzle in our olive oil. So we have about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Again, like I said, it seems like a lot. We're only going to be using a very, very small amount. And that looks just about right. So I'll show you from the color. Really nice, rich color. This beautiful pesto. And you see the specks of the red from the sun-dried tomato and the chili. Super fragrant. And it'll add a really nice punch to the rest of the dish. So that's pretty much in. And so
that looks beautiful.
Couscous, and this, you know, you can store it, have a lot of leftovers, and then just to finish it, and you can put whatever you want, you know, some cucumbers. I roasted some cherry tomatoes, and really, really simple. You could put fresh cherry tomatoes if you like, but I just had some whole cherry tomatoes, popped them into the broiler, and it concentrates the flavor a little bit. This is just a little bit of an extra step, and you can kind of see how they've roasted and shriveled up really nicely. What's nice about this is if I know some people don't like the skins of the tomatoes, it's actually an easy way to just pop the skins off. So especially if the fiber from the skin is bothersome, it's a great way to do that. And what I'm going to do is finish it just a touch of balsamic vinegar.
Wow.
Just a little bit of acid there. Just about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Everyone's boiler is a little bit different. What I would suggest is just keep an eye on it. It doesn't take long. You don't want to burn them. And that's it. Just a few.
And this is a beautiful one to have, 2 hours before your workout.
Yeah.
You can have it as a smaller snack. If you want to have it as a meal, 3 hours or more before your workout, then adding a little bit of protein, like a small piece of fish or some beans or lentils to it to get that protein content will be helpful to tide you over. You can even have it post-workout. And again, you would want to add some extra protein to make sure that you replenish your muscles.